Trey Gowdy, former congressman and chairman of the House Oversight Committee, now a partner at Nelson Mullins and a Fox News contributor. Good to have you with us tonight, sir. What's your reaction? What do you think he was getting at with that no one objected?
That Devin and Paul knew about it and had no problem with it. That's exactly what he's getting at. And the reason he's doing it this way is Devin and Paul are not allowed to discuss anything that is said in a Gang of Eight meeting. And McCabe knows that. So he can level the accusation, and Paul and Devin cannot refute him. What I think is fascinating is there were 3 investigations into a duly elected president. The Peter Strzok one from July of 2016, and then McCabe started a counterintelligence, and if he's telling the truth, started a criminal probe into the President of the United States. I listened to Devin and Paul quiz the DOJ and the FBI for hours on multiple occasions about the one counterintelligence investigation we all knew about it. I find it stunning that they would know about a second one and not say a single solitary word. And I will continue to not believe they knew about it unless one or the other contradicts it.
So you're saying that Paul Ryan, Devin Nunes, that the whole Gang of Eight was not aware that there were 2 investigations. So the first investigation that everybody understood was whether or not there was Russian interference in the election, correct?
Well, if you look at the FBI document, which was drafted by and approved by Peter Strzok, it was a counterintelligence investigation into the Trump campaign. Now, the FBI doesn't like it when I say that, but unfortunately, I've seen the documents. I know exactly what Strzok wrote. They want you to believe that it was into what Russia was doing, and that's fine. That's appropriate. Unfortunately, Strzok used the phrase Trump campaign. So that was the one from July of 2016, and now McCabe says there was one in May of 2017 in addition to the criminal investigation into obstruction of justice.
Understood. I mean, and everyone knows that the FISA warrants were happening during the time of the original investigation, which goes right to the heart of what you're saying about the Trump campaign in and of itself. But what triggered the second part of this for Andrew McCabe is quite clear. He was very upset that James Comey was fired. And when he was pressed on this by Savannah Guthrie on the Today Show this morning, he said, she said, what evidence, what reasoning did you have? And he says, because he clearly wanted us to stop investigating. He talked about Michael Flynn. He asked for, perhaps you could see your way past this investigation. And he felt that there was a direct line, perhaps, from that to him being an agent of Russia, essentially.
If thinking that Jim Comey is not a good FBI director is tantamount to being an agent of Russia, then just list all the people that are agents of Russia. Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, Rod Rosenstein, who wrote the memo getting rid of Comey, Michael Horowitz, who's the inspector general. I mean, look, I know McCabe liked Jim Comey. I know that. But lots of people thought that Jim Comey had lost the ability to lead that department. And the fact that President Trump got rid of him in May of 2017 is not sufficient basis to launch a criminal obstruction of justice probe. Look at what happened, Martha. He gets rid of Comey, replaces him with a Comey acolyte who not only continues the probe, but expands it. So if his goal was to obstruct a Russia investigation, gosh, he did a terrible job of it.
Well, your friend Adam Schiff clearly believes that this evidence that Andrew McCabe speaks of definitely existed. And just to remind everyone, Andrew McCabe said that he believed that the president was a national security concern and that it was such a potent moment for everyone because they were so terrified about this. Here's Adam Schiff talking about what he sees as the continued evidence at this point on Sunday. Let's watch.
You can see evidence in plain sight on the issue of collusion, pretty compelling evidence. Now, there's a difference between seeing evidence of collusion and being able to prove a criminal conspiracy beyond a reasonable doubt.
Your thoughts?
Well, collusion is a synonym for conspiracy. So I hope the questioner followed up and said, okay, Chairman Schiff, you have just said you have evidence of a criminal conspiracy between the President of the United States and the Russian state. What is that evidence? What is the crime? Was Trump involved in the hacking of the DNC server? Was he involved in the hacking of John Podesta's email? Are you alleging that he participated in deciding when to disseminate the proceeds of those two hacks? I have heard Adam on a number of occasions say that he, as the third eye raven, has evidence and seen things nobody else has ever seen before. But I've never heard him ask, what is it? What is the evidence of crime that you have, Chairman Schiff? I've never heard him follow. I've never heard it followed up on.
He also weighed in on the Jussie Smollett story with this tweet on January 20th. He also made some assumptions about the outcome of this case. Perhaps he said, "I met him at the Pride Parade in Los Angeles. I've seen his passion and moral clarity of his activism firsthand. This week he was the victim of a horrific attack. We pray for your speedy recovery, and we reject this act of hatred and bigotry," says Adam Schiff with regard to that. Quick thought.
Horrific attack is the words I went to. It is another in a long list of instances where Adam Schiff would rather get the attention than get the facts. And I've said before, he was a good lawyer. Unfortunately, he's a much better politician. Lawyers get the facts and then they make conclusions. Politicians just want the attention. And he got it. And I wonder if anybody's going to ask him, how did you get this so wrong?
Trey Gowdy, thank you, sir. Good to see you as always.
Can this old fella get the nomination if his beliefs are an abomination? Add Bernie Sanders to the island of crazed oddities looking for the Democratic nomination. He's been in politics forever and hasn't combed his hair in 35 years. Look, Bernie's a white guy in his 70s, which for the Democrats is worse than worshiping Satan. But he almost beat Hillary in the 2016 primary, so maybe he thinks he can get the nomination if she's not running. I mean, who else could do it? Kirsten Gillibrand? Who's paying attention to her?
I don't think you should back away from the bold ideas that the base and the grassroots care about. Sorry, I'm just trying to get some ranch. Go ahead.
It would have been better if she had asked Gillibrand for the ranch. Pro tip, don't ever be the candidate standing in the way of ranch dressing. It's the best dressing ever. And what about Joe? He told an audience in Germany that America was an embarrassment. His biggest asset is that he's only stupid. Now, if the nomination could end up going to a crunchy old socialist who happens to own 3 homes. Yep, 3 homes. That's 3 more homes than Kat, who still lives in a garage. Yeah, but it'd be fun to watch him versus Trump. What do you think, Bernie?
And its tendency to focus on side issues.
There's a lady who's sure all that glitters is gold, and she's buying a stairway to heaven.
People in the audience, as they approach the book, might be interested in knowing.
When she gets there, she knows if the stores are all closed, with a word, she can get what she came for.
And I just love you. I want to ask just a couple of things about your early life.
Oh, and she's buying her stairway to heaven.
What will Democrats do now that you are responsible and in the leadership?
There's a sign on the wall, but she wants to be sure, because you know sometimes words have 2 meanings.
There are so many people who say young people are only activists because they are millennials who are idealistic and think it's cool.
I believe I have gas. Oh, never should have had that 3-bean salad. Always comes back. Why not just have 2 beans? Always the 3 beans. Oh my God, I hope that's just gas. Maybe they'll think Pelosi did it.
Yes. All right, Rob.
Yes, sir.
Does he still have the mojo that he had in 2016?
Well, everyone's trying to get on board with the socialism thing because they put a name in front of a democratic socialism, which is a bunch of nonsense, too.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying they were bragging about, what, $8 million in a few minutes when he announced his candidacy.
Yeah.
He better be giving 70% of that to the Trump campaign, because let's share the wealth a little bit.
That is true.
You know what I'm saying? That's what it's all about. And like the $300,000 on private airfare last month.
Right.
It's easy to be a socialist when you're living like a capitalist, man.
No, that's the only way to do it. What do you think, Kat, as a libertarian? Are you scared that we could have a socialist president?
I love Bernie supporters. They're like, I will not rest until every business in the country has $0. I'm sick of it. right. I'm sick of the Democratic Socialists acting like they're so altruistic. Like, oh, look at us. We want to give you this. We want to give you this. We want to give you this. Not like those mean Republicans. No, they want you to be sick, and they want you to be hungry, and then they want to kill your grandma, and then they want you to die after you watch your grandma die. It's like, no, in order to give you something, you have to actually own that first. They're not giving away their own stuff.
Right.
If your boyfriend takes you out to dinner and buys you a present,
right,
you would probably be very happy unless you found out that he used your credit card to pay for it, which is only acceptable if you are 9 and that person is your mother and you made it on construction paper or whatever. But no, I'm sick of them pretending that it's about generosity. It's not about generosity. It's about control. It's about big government, and it's about taking from people, not giving.
I agree. Tyrus, the illusion is that government services are free and the socialists are actually giving it to you when, in fact, it's taking from the free market.
Yeah, that's deep. That's great, Greg. The illusion is the media. And to go back, America's not walking around trying to be victims, what you talked about earlier. The media is painting victims and expecting the American people to buy into it.
Right.
And the Smollett thing just proved that we're still not buying that.
Yeah.
Bernie Sanders is a legit contender despite CNN and the other left-leaning media's best efforts. They are pitching this magnificent group of 7 young candidates who are coming in, and then Bernie announced and raised $6 million in 24 hours.
Yeah.
Then they said, well, let's list how much the other guys made. Camilla, not bad.
Yeah.
Took her about a week. She got about $2 million, so she's strong. After that, about $6, $7, $16. I think Pocahontas owes money. And that goes against their message. It was supposed to be this new left.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way they feel that they can. So you watch how this goes down. This is going to be a boring time for President Trump, and I don't know if he's going to be able to handle it.
Yeah, that's true.
Because they're going to be going after Bernie Sanders for everything because he's not what they want.
That's true.
See, and that's going to be the fun story is how they keep throwing things at Bernie, though. All kinds of little stories are going to leak about him. There's going to be all these anonymous tips about Bernie's behaviors, and maybe there's a 4th house out there we don't know about. Little bastard house somewhere, maybe a little cabin.
4th house in his hair.
Hangs out with Greg Gutfeld on weekends. Like we don't know, but I guarantee you there's gonna be some stuff.
I did meet him in a park.
Here we go.
I gotta get to Dr. Drew. Last word on this.
In 2 years, old white male becomes completely non-contender.
Yeah,
just being an old white male.
I would say now. I would say now.
No, I'm saying he was a contender 2 years ago. 2 years goes by, just being an old white male takes him out. That's it.
It's against their religion.